speaking of companies that do have 2 or 3x potential in 1 year or in 2026, Micron has been on a rip, right? Like they're up
Absolutely.
35% already year to date, which is incredible. What are your thoughts on Micron? Are you like, I don't think you jumped into Micron, right?
I did not, at least not yet. Um,
Okay.
I really liked your POV on it. I don't know if they're gonna hit the $900 per share or not that we talked about, last episode, but I understand your optimism, and I agree with it. I just have a hard time buying at all-time highs, and,
Yeah.
that could bite me, and that's okay. There's always gonna be another opportunity. But I'm just kind of watching it right now, and that might be all I am, doing. My
Yeah.
question for you is, it continuously hitting new all-time highs, but your point of view is relative to other companies like Micron, its price is actually being suppressed.
Right.
And my question is, why do you think Micron's price is suppressed?
Yeah. Great question. I'll actually answer that question in just a minute, but let me first touch on something else, which is the reason why I don't mind buying Micron at an all-time high.
Sure.
Because generally speaking, there's two reasons why stocks go up. One is because they have performance. Their financials are actually delivering higher and higher revenues and higher profits. Um, and the other is just because of hype, because the market gets excited about a particular segment or industry or companies, for example, in nuclear space right now have a lot of hype and a lot of excitement going for them because the anticipation that they will have lots of revenue and profits in the future is there, and therefore the stocks have just done tremendously well over the past year, right? Um, so those are the two reasons. In Micron's case, the answers to why it's hitting all-time highs is because the revenues and profits have just skyrocketed. So if you compare Q2 2025, which is the current quarter that we were in, Q2 is Q2 2026 for Micron. Q2 2025, they had $8 billion in revenue and $1.56 per share of earnings. So 8 billion is anticipated to go up to 18 billion, 125% year over year increase, which is just unbelievable. And then the $1.56 is expected to go to over $8 per share, $8.10 per share, which is over a 400% increase in profits. And when the profits of a company have gone up 4 times, you would expect that the value of the company should have also gone up 4 times, and that like that just about checks out. So, and it might even be less than 4 times in Micron's case if you compare it to end of Q2 um, 2025 numbers. So, so Micron is going up as a result of revenue and profit increases, which is actually a refreshing change as opposed to just hype or just excitement or people getting super excited about a company. Now, as far as why it's getting kind of suppressed for future uh, price earnings, the end of 2026, if the price didn't move, it would have a price earnings ratio of 11 or something like that based on current price point and what's expected for them to have in 2026 of profits. But the reason it's getting suppressed is because the argument of memory is cyclical or has been cyclical traditionally. And that every single time, every day, I see that argument on X, especially about Micron, and there's two issues that I have with that argument. One is uh, everybody who thinks that memory is cyclical doesn't necessarily think that about Nvidia or GPUs or whatever, even though Nvidia basically went through multiple cycles with gaming becoming sort of like what drives them, and then that started to die down a little bit. Then crypto came about and started to drive them, and then that started to die down a little bit, and then AI started driving them. Well, if you looked at Nvidia historically, it was cyclical as well, and then now it's on this like super up curve. there's a chance that the AI demand for Nvidia chips will also die down, but no one thinks of Nvidia as a cyclical company. But they still do for Micron for some reason. So that is one argument, is the cyclical. And then when you ask, okay, when is the cycle going to end? The the only time they can sort of like point to is like right about now or in the past couple of quarters, because the cycles last roughly 4 or 5 years, and we should be at the end of that cycle. Um, and all indications are that 2026 is already sold out, and this cycle is going to at least continue into 2027 and possibly beyond. The only people who have good visibility on the demand of memory chips is people who are in the management teams of these companies, whether it's Micron or uh, uh, Samsung or SK Hynix. It's just these three companies that are making these memory chips, and they're all investing in more fabs that are going to come online in 2027 and 2028. So unless they're just completely reading the future of this market wrong, um, it seems like there's going to continue to be a lot of demand for at least the next 2 3 years and possibly beyond. If you take things like what Mark Zuckerberg says about the number of gigawatts of data center space data centers that they want to bring online, or what Elon Musk says about the number of gigawatts or even terawatts of data centers that they want to bring online. A terawatt would be 1,000 times bigger than 1 gigawatt data center, which is just mind-blowingly enormous. If these are the sort of projections of the future over the next 10, 15, 20 years, this cycle might not end anytime soon. So uh,
Or the
you sort of take
cyclical
that with a
pattern might just be over potentially.
That's right. It might be over, at least for in the same way that not everything is a cycle, but like things do taper off at some point. You would imagine,
Right.
but if AI demand continues and if we start getting lots of productivity gain as a result of it, it could continue for a long time before it tapers down.
And they just broke ground on a new facility in New York, right?
That's right. That's right. They and that facility, I think, is $100 billion facility that they just broke ground on. So again, unless management is extremely dumb and is like miscalculating, and they don't think that the cycle is ending anytime soon, otherwise they would not be making these investments. So um, we basically have two potential people we can bet on: the management who has some visibility, or X users who speculate that the memory is cyclical, or X investors who are posting on X, I should say.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going with it doesn't appear to be cyclical, at least in the short term.
And what
And
about
short meaning at least 1 year plus, maybe 2 3 years of visibility.